When President Franklin Roosevelt proposed the Tennessee Valley Authority in 1933, it wasn't just an economic plan. To many governors and local leaders across the American South, it looked like an invasion. They saw a powerful federally funded agency with a sweeping mandate, and they feared one thing above all: the creation of a super state, a federal Leviathan that would crush local control, strip away tax revenue, and make state governments irrelevant. Today, we are going to uncover the deep inconsistency at the heart of Tennessee Valley Authority, explore the very real fears it created, and break down the brilliant and often overlooked solutions that turned a potential government war into a legendary partnership. This consistency was baked in from the start. Philosophically and legally, it was a clash of two American ideals. Ideal one, centralized federal power. The Tennessee Valley Authority was a national project. Its mission, flood control, navigation, electrification, was for the good of the entire country. Sometimes, as the record states, national interests may not be identical with regional or local interests. Ideal 2, decentralized states rise. The 7 Valley states, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and others, were the heartland of this belief. They cherish local control and deeply distrusted federal overreach. This wasn't an economic debate. This inconsistency created tangible, paralyzing fear. Fear 1, the revenue raper. As a federal agency, Tennessee Valley Authority property was untaxable. When it bought thousands of acres for reservoirs, that land vanished from local tax rolls. Mayors and governors saw a future where federal dams stood tall while their schools, roads, and services crumbled without funding. Fear 2, the autonomy eater. Would state laws matter? Could local officials make decisions? Or would a Tennessee Valley Authority bureaucrat in Knoxville just issue orders? The fear was that state governments would become more rubber stamps, their power hollowed out. Fear 3, the institutional ghost. The deepest foreboding, as written in the Tennessee Valley Authority's own history, was that the very institutions of state and local government would atrophy and become useless. Why have a state forestry department if Tennessee Valley Authority does it all? This fear was about existential irrelevance. The Tennessee Valley Authority's founders knew these fears could kill the project, so they engineered a fix. Their first masterstroke was location, location, and location. Solution 1, be a neighbor, not a bureaucrat. Congress mandated that Tennessee Valley Authority's headquarters be inside the valley. This forced Tennessee Valley Authority staff to live in the region, shop locally, and send their kids to local schools. They became stakeholders, not colonial administrators. You can't be a distant super state when you are someone's neighbor. Solution 2, the tax treaty. This is a case study in co-determination. This is where Tennessee Valley Authority turned fear into trust. The old tax formula was broken. Instead of going to Congress alone, Tennessee Valley Authority did the unexpected. They called a summit. They sat down with state officials and said, "This is our problem. What is our solution?" For weeks, they engaged in frank discussion. Together, they hammered out a new, fairer formula. Then they marched to Congress as a united front and got their joint proposal passed. The The states weren't victims of a federal decree. They were co-authors of the law. This process, more than anything, dissolved the super-state fear. It proved Tennessee Valley Authority wanted partners and not subordinates. The second part of the fix was even more profound. To combat the fear of making states irrelevant, Tennessee Valley Authority's strategy was let's make you stronger. Solution 3 built state brain power. Instead of creating a huge federal research division, Tennessee Valley Authority gave grants to universities within the Valley states to study local government, forestry, and agriculture. They didn't just get data, they built permanent intellectual capital inside the states themselves. Solution 4 armed state agencies. For problems like local flooding, Tennessee Valley Authority didn't seize control. It provided state planning agencies with data maps and technical experts. It made state departments, state governments smarter and more effective at their own jobs. A strong state partner was in Tennessee Valley Authority's interest. Solution 5 championed state-to-state deals for the interstate problem of river pollution. Tennessee Valley Authority didn't demand more federal power. It supported the states in creating an interstate compact, a formal treaty among themselves. Tennessee Valley Authority message was clear. We are one tool in the toolbox. Your sovereignty is another. Use both. So, did it work? Did the super-state emerge? Let's hear from the very people who were afraid. In 1952, a survey of all 7 valley governors found them unanimous. They denied Tennessee Valley Authority was a super-state or a tax robber. Instead, they testified to its cooperative spirit and that the state rights had been strengthened by Tennessee Valley Authority's operations. The ultimate proof, investment of course, support by confidence in the partnership. The 7 states increased their own spending on resource development from $6 million to over $52 million in 2 decades. They weren't retreating, they were investing alongside their federal partner. Tennessee Valley Authority's story isn't a fairy tale where inconsistency and fear magically vanished. It is a masterclass in managing tensions. It proves that central authority and local rights don't have to be a zero-sum game. The solution wasn't to eliminate the federal agency or to crush the states. It was to design a system of embeddedness, co-determination, and capacity building. It was to replace fear with a seat at the table and suspicion with a shared blueprint. In an era where federal versus state conflicts feel more intense than ever, the Tennessee Valley Authority's forgotten playbook of solving problems with people, not for or against them, might just hold the key we need. What modern problem could use the Tennessee Valley Authority's model of cooperation? Drop your thoughts below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mechanics of government, hit like, subscribe, and let us know what historical puzzle we should tackle next.